Hello everyone. Alright, this is the second part of the video on merging the advanced social system. When we left off last time, we had just finished up in here, and some of them, let's see, what do we have left? We're going to take a look real quick. We'd moved the blueprints over. We got the social player state and the social player character that we haven't gotten rid of, and we got to get stuff in the UI. I believe the last thing we had done was do a test of the system that was following his footsteps in the video. We wanted to do a test, and as you can see, nothing's working at the moment, so we don't we do have the chat window working. That's it. None of the others are working, but it is working, and I'm not getting any errors. So we're going to stop. Well, we get one error. I'll take that back. We're going to just ignore this for now because we're going to do some migrations and see if we can't clean this up. Alright, the first thing we want to do, let's come over here into the blueprints panel of the advanced social system. We've already migrated the social player character, so let's go ahead and just get rid of that. Right click and delete. Notice it doesn't say force delete because it was represented it or linked to anything, so that means it's good to go. Just go ahead and delete that out of the way. We're going to come to that last in a minute. Let's get the UI moved over. I'm going to drop that down. We got 3 folders. I always have trouble if I'm moving folders with folders, so I like to go down here and just make a new folder. So we're going to make a new folder. If you remember earlier, we were moving this into the MMO folder. So under the, I just made the advanced social system. We're copying. Let me move this over just a little bit. We're just copying the example. So now I got the UI down there, and then I'm just going to drag and drop these folders. So we'll just drag that one down, move folder. Take just a few seconds here. We're going to move the rest of the. This is the UI. These widgets are called. This is going to do our party frame, plate name, etc., etc. I'll pause that real quick. Alright, that's paused. Let's grab the fonts. Let's move them down. Go ahead and grab the textures. Drag them down, put them on the UI, move folder. Alright, that's cleaned up the blueprints besides social player. We do have the social folder, but we've already moved that, so everything's down. We're going to get to the demo last. He did that earlier, but I want to save that for last. That's basically just dance emotes and the test zone. We don't want the test zone, but we will take the dance animations. He's got some dance animations. We're going to pick those up last. Alright, the last thing we need to get over there is the social player state. But as you notice, when we delete this, watch the delete action, this thing is still linked. It's, all these are referencing this. So that's not good. They're supposed to be referencing our MMO player state. We follow those directions, but for some reason they're not. They're still pointing to the social player state. So what we need to do, the best thing I can find out is we're going to have to try to do a force replace here and then fix the issues from there. So we're just going to come down here at the bottom. You should see it says none, replace references. We're going to choose, there's where it's supposed to be pointing to, the MMO player state. We're going to choose it, and then we're going to say replace references. It's going to say, should get a pop-up. It's going to ask you, or you want to do this, say OK. And it's going to go through and start replacing that references. And this is, I think, a list of where they are. You can actually copy those out if you want to go individually and read them. I did not, but I assume that's where they were replaced at, because it's going to go through each one. I just went through them, say OK, OK, and OK. Now it did say that it would delete them, so hopefully that worked. I tested it earlier, we got it. Now we go back into the delete, and it's still showing a link. That's okay. It has replaced them. So we're now going to delete the social player state. So let's just do a force delete. And when we do a save all, we're probably going to get some errors here. Let's go ahead and save all. I'll pause the video while it's saving. Alright, we're back. And I think if we do the test now, you're going to pop in, and then when we stop here, it's going to pop up our, there we go, our errors. Now this is what's happened when we told that to delete and replace the references. As you can see here, we're getting references where it's replaced them. It is saying, hey, I don't know what you got going on here. And as you can see right now, a lot of it's in the MMO player controller and the social component. So let's go ahead and open up the player controller. I'm going to just drag that in there for me for reference. Alright, so we're in the player controller. And inside the player, come back here. In the player controller, load player info. Let's do a quick, alright, we're in the player controller. I'm going to do a compile, and it should pull up the errors. There it is. Alright, it's pulled up the errors. And if you kind of, you see them here, yellow and yellow. So we're getting warnings, not complete errors. Errors. I'm sorry about that. I'm speaking broken English today. So we got to get them fixed up. So let's go down here and look. So this is casting to our MMO player state, but it's getting a dead class reference. So where's the other one? And this is not compatible. So what we need to do is, I noticed that a dead class apparently is, it just puts an empty slot in it. So we need to go down in here. Yeah, hold on. Alright, the first one we want to do actually is the social system component. I got out of sync here. Alright, go over to the, you should have your errors, or if you didn't, you can pull your errors back up. We actually want the social system component. You can double click the error button if you didn't here. If you've closed the message log at any time, you can open it up, go to Window, Developer Tools right here, and you can pull up the message log, and that'll just reload it, and it should have the errors on it. So we need to get the social system component. You can see it listed here. Just double click it. It should open the window. Once inside of there, you can say, alright, I'm having trouble. We're looking for current general ID, and double click it. So this is, we're getting this error, but we want the server global channel. Alright. If you're not seeing it on your screen, you can go over here on the left side. We know it's a function. Look under functions. It's under message, and then server global channel message. Double click it, and it should open this little window here. That's what you're looking for. Alright, now that we're down in here, as we compile it, you can see right here the social player state and the player state. They're getting a bad reference right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this up out of this so we can see what's going on. Grab these two. Alright, we've cast to our new MMO player state. That's locally, but it's set as social player state. That's the original. Remember where we changed it out. So we changed it out here, and that didn't work. If you look on here, we've got a dead class, player state. So that's not good. So we're going to need to change this up. What I did real quick was just, alright, we're going to start with the for each loop, this right here, before the cast player state. I'm going to drag this off, and we're just going to cast. Well, you don't cast. You can just type MMO player state and grab the cast. Control X. We're going to break that link there. We don't need it. Now we need to compare it to the channel ID type. So grab here and branch off and type compare. Oh, there it is. Channel ID type. Okay. Like I said, now if you notice here, the player state is a dead class. We don't want a dead class. So we're going to go here for our players, on this one, on the player state. We're referencing the MMO player state. So go over here where it says player state, drop down, type MMO player state, and we want a reference to that. And just boom. So that has now set that as the MMO reference state. Now that will link to there. And then what we can do is we can just local channel. We've duplicated this and got that hiccup out. And then we're going to hook this up. We're going to go back here, grab the array element, connect to the object. And then we're just going to hook this side to the branch. And then on success to the condition. Alright, so we've replaced that out. And what we're going to do is we're just going to, oh, not those. Let's just do them one at a time because I'm going to make a boo-boo. We're going to get rid of this one, and we're going to get rid of that one. So now we've replaced both of those. and that is calling to the MMO player state now. Here, see the reference. Now we should get a compile on that, but we're going to get another boo-boo. That's okay. And then now we need to find out why this is not compatible. We're still having a dead class call in our local player state. So we double click that and it takes us out of that screen. Now I'm going to go back. And now we're in the compare channel region that we're having the issue. Now if you missed how I got that by double clicking, you can also come over here to the functions because we know it's a function. There's the F. So look in the functions. It's actually under helper, channels, compare channel type ID, and just double click that and that'll open it up. So we've got 2 more errors in here, well actually warnings, and we got another dead class. I'm thinking it just throws a dead class because something it didn't find what it was looking for. So we can see that's still referencing the MMO player state. That's good. And right there, if you mouse over it, oh, we got another dead class representation. So this variable is throwing the dead class, but we need it to point to the player state of MMO player state. So type this, drop down up here, type MMO player state, and we're going to do the reference. It's going to say you're going to break these connections, etc., etc. Say yes. Change variable type. And then we're going to compile. Alright, that's done. Earlier I had trouble with the controller. Let's go back over the controller. Let's just make sure it compiles again. Compile and save. Alright, now let's go to the window and we're going to run it again. And there we go. Alright, as you can see here now we have picked up the player control panel or panel window. We've got the debug information. The guild win is here. Now we still do have the original stuff here. I'm fixing to show you about that, but I just wanted to get that in and working. As you can see, it's working. We can type yell just for hello, and you can see that's working. And then we can hit S and go back to say. So we know the features seem to be working here. All right, let's stop. I wanted to take. All right, let's pull the message log out. All right. So we're not getting any errors. We got a good compile. That's good. That gives us an integration with the kit. Now the only problem is we're using local variables, as I pointed out when we put all that together, and we actually need to be using our server instead of the data tables. So what we're going to have to do is migrate that over, but everybody knew that was coming. So that'll be probably the next part we're going to work on. Just to make sure, go ahead and hit save all one last time. And make sure your content, fix up any folder redirects. If that does have any, then save again. I'm going to hit play test one more time. Alright, and we can see that it's working. It's pulling his name from the data tables, so we know that that's the local parameters we don't need. We're going to be having to switch that over to our MySQL database. That's the next part, and then we're going to look at the UI, and we'll get that cleaned up and working on that. Alright, with that we'll hit a stop, and then we'll move over into the next part. Alright, let's move over into the getting some of the UI changed over so we can see that. I did forget to mention move apart, so go back up in the advanced social system, go down in the UI folder, and at the top root you should see chat HUD layout. I forgot to mention about moving that, and we just simply need to move that over into the UI. Alright, that finishes that up. We're going to eventually look at that. I looked at some of the animations. They're a little wonky when porting them over. I'm going to have to look at it another time. Maybe we'll catch that in the third video. Alright, so let's go down here. What I want you to do is I want you to open the game HUD, which is go down into the user interface of the MMO Kit. So we're in the MMO Kit user interface. Let's open up the game HUD. Double click that, open that up. Go open the blueprints. Let's open the MM player controller. and then back in the UI, the chat HUD that we just moved over. We'll drag this over here. So when let's take a look at the game HUD. This is our heads-up display, or HUD, and this is what is being drawn on the screen when we have the MMO kit. You see the player name, the health, party window. It describes them all right here. And this is the chat HUD layout. This is where the new system is being called. It has the chat window, the player frame, and the debug. Some of the stuff here we don't want to lose, and some of the stuff here we'll want to migrate over. So let's go over in the MMO player controller. Go to the event graph. You're probably on a different tab, but look for the event graph. And we're going to come over here and look for begin authorized play. This should be the part of the MMO kit. We're going to zoom in down here. And then this is where it starts. Begin play, authorized switch has authority. Basically what that does, it's test to see if the player is declaring the server. Everything behind authority only gets called if it's on the server. So that's we want to make sure that gets called on the server. If you come right down here where it says create UI, it's coming from the MMO instance. And let's go ahead and open that up so that you can see how that's referencing that. So go back over to the main project, come all the way down into MMO and game modes, and we want to open MMO instance. Let's just be aware of what's going on. This is where come over to the Create UI tab. If not, it's under Functions, and you should be able to double click it and find it there. And then it should open it up. As you can see here, this is where it's being called to create all the UI elements. We are going to be working in the game HUD, and as you can see right there, there's where it's being called to create the game HUD widget in the MMO instance, and that's where then the player controller is actually going to create it calling from there. So we know right here this is being creates the UI. And just as what I'm talking about, let's just go ahead and bypass this for a minute. Control Alt, break that. Let's just compile that real quick. Basically what we've done is turned off the UI. Once you go back to the game, we're going to hit play, and that's turned off. Now that's turned off a lot of important stuff that we need, but as you can see now, it's cleaned up the interface so we can see a little better. We still do have the chat part, that's on a different part, but as you can see, a lot of that in the background is gone. I just wanted to point that out. We're getting an error, which should be because I disabled that. Alright, let's put that back on. Compile. Save. I just wanted to show you where that is being called from, how that's working, so that we understand what's going on. And now that that's been compiled and saved and cleaned up, let's hit play again, and everything's back on the screen. Alright, hit stop, and no more errors. So after I tear into this thing, I'm starting to wonder if it's going to be even possible to use this, the social system component, which is down in the blueprint social folder. That's the meat and potatoes of this system. That's where all the functions are called. The chat window, the player frames, the party frames, everything is set up here, called to the data tables. Even though it may go to MySQL, it seems to go to the data tables first. What scares me about storing stuff in data tables is anything local, like here, you know, we can see we got the name, the ID, etc., etc. It tells you who the leader is. If it's local, I'm afraid it could be hacked, and then of course you wouldn't want someone's guild to be hacked. I'm going to do some more research on that and see if I can figure out if there's anything else I can do with the social component and maybe migrate it over to the system. I didn't get a whole lot to work on it last week, but I'm releasing this video a little early so that you can see it working in the system. What you can do if you want to go ahead and work with it and see maybe you can find out something that I'm not aware of, You can go over into the MMO player controller. Remember I talked about that earlier. Go down in the event graph, and right here where it says the create the UI, if you want to, you can just turn that off. This is just so you can see it. It won't work without it. You can't. You gotta have to leave this in there. That's a major part of the game. You're gonna get errors when you turn this off, but at least you can see to work in the window. So what I did was just bypass that for now, and then you can find the chat widget. Let me show you that. That's in the MMO Kit itself. Go down into blueprints, open up that folder, and you'll see chat, and go down there, open the chat widget. Chat widget actually draws the chat area. Click the target the chat area right there, and you can just grab and drag that around. And normally it's over here. Let's just move it over here out of the way, compile it, and save. And that's just going to get out of our way so we can see what's working. And what this let us do is we can actually see the advanced social system now running inside of the MMO Kit and see how it works. So up here we're going to do two number players in your database. You should have had you can register a new player. Go to your database, register a new character, create a new character. Make sure that character is set to 1. Remember the original set to 0, and it'll load the second one. And we're going to open them both in the new editor. What I'm going to do is just go ahead and launch those now. And this is going to give us 2 clients. We're simulating 2 clients running on it. Let's just slide this over a little bit. Alright, as you can see, they're pulling the names from the data tables. I've turned off the MMO Kit for now so we can see it's a little better, just to show you that it's working. Alright, I can move around. Remember that this is only interface working. It's not really tied to this character, but this shows you that it's actually working inside. So see that guy's name Social Test, but over here, now that I've targeted him, I can't untarget him. Come on now. There we go. Over here, he's called Pirate, because that's the MMO Kit working together. But we're going to show you that the system seems to be in place and working. So like, let's type yo, hello. See, it's showing up on the chat there. His name is Pirate, so let's go ahead and invite Pirate. You invited Pirate to join the party. Of course, you don't get no pop-up. It just gets a warning here that you've been invited. You have to type /accept. It does form the party, puts the leader crown up on Ninja. As you can see, we're both in the party. Alright, let's have Pirate see if he talks in party and say hello. So it looks like the chat system is working. But this, of course, this is just storing all the variables locally. We're not integrated anything to the MySQL. It's still just using the base social kit. But I mean, you can see it's working here now. At least we got at that point. If you wanted to try to carry on from here, maybe take some of the MMO Kit out, or if you wanted to work with this, like I said, I'll release this part of the video, get it out so you can mess with it. Let's see. I don't even know if it. I guess it's made him. Alright, so it looks like he's made him in the guild Vanguard. Okay. I don't know how the guilds work, as in it just forms it on. I think it's going to show him already in a guild. Let's see if we type guild. I'm in a guild. Okay, so he's in his own guild, but it does not show the guild name. It just says guild. Let's see if he's in a guild. Yeah. So it automatically evidently spawns them in their own unique guilds. Probably tells you right there, guild ID 0, yep, and guild ID 1. So that would have to be worked out. Anyway, so I want to go ahead and I wanted to get this video out earlier. I've had a rough week last week, and this will get it out to people that actually want to mess around with it and see if there's something they can do or something they might want to change, and at least get it working. So as you can see, it is now in here. We have the banners. The only thing we don't have is the overhead name display. We do get it from a distance. I'll check into that as we continue to work and see if this is even possible. Alright, let's go ahead and stop that. And of course you're going to get errors, lots of errors because we've disconnected everything. So just be aware of that. When you get through working, you'll have to turn that back on, which is back down in the MMO player controller. hook that back up. Of course, that would be up to you if you wanted to edit that out. But there's a lot of good features in the UI, and it pulls from the database. And I'll just show you now that that's hooked back up that we can see it running. So we'll just go ahead and hit, come on now, we'll go ahead and hit play. And this will have the MMO Kit stuff on it, so it's going to be confusing. Yeah, see, there's the original. And the everything that was originally with MMO Kit's turned back over. But as you can see, that it's still, I mean, the advanced social system is working. Just wanted to show that. And then when we hit escape, those errors are gone. All right. So I guess that's going to stop here for now. I'm going to go ahead and try to continue to look in this. I'm really thinking it's not going to work. May have to just rip some of it out and use what we can of the advanced social kit and build it into the actual MMO Kit itself, because there's a lot of features. We don't want to lose the chat ability, because it does carry the comment, the global. It does connect to the chat server, etc. Alright, I'm going to wrap this video up. This is a little early for the second video, but at least we got that part out. And I don't know when I'll try to get the third one out. We'll see what's going on there. Alright, if you have any comments, please post them on the forum. Anything else, you might throw it down here on the YouTube channel. Thanks, guys, for sticking around and joining to the channel. We'll talk with you later. This is Nemo. We're out of here.